This is a funny angle. It's fine, I guess. My D&D cart is... We'll move it out of the way. Okay, there we go. It's a mess. I have book covers on that of things that I'm like in the middle of or getting ready to start, and then it's covered in dice trays, so we'll just get it out of the way. It's fine. Welcome or welcome back to the channel. My name is Sarah. I'm like really close to the top of the frame. Hold on. Ugh. That helps a little. I'm not sitting on a squishmallow anymore. And today we have a few things to talk about. A little bit more than I remember actually finishing, but here we go. I'm going to knock off 3 at the top, just get them done. I've read the first 3 volumes of Mob Psycho 100. Now, why did I do this? I have tried to watch this anime twice. I think twice. I watched it once with my husband, and then we watched the first and second episodes again with our best friend. Didn't click for any of us, but I know that this has like a cult following. Like, people love this series. So I was at the used bookstore, and I do have a used bookstore haul coming in a couple of weeks, but I was at the used bookstore and I saw the first 9 volumes of this, and I was like, okay. I brought in 3 bags of trading credit. So I haven't found much. Why don't I get the first 3 volumes of Mob Psycho and I'll try the manga? Because typically I prefer a manga to an anime, right? So I got these 3 and I read through them. I have mixed feelings on the manga, but much more positive than the anime, which means I am going to continue some of the manga. I went back and got the rest of the volumes that were the used bookstore because these were like $5 or $6 each, which is half price. That is it's a big difference in price for me. So I have up to volume 9 now. I have read 1 through 3 and I like it. So Mob Psycho is basically about this kid named Mob. It's not his actual name, but he goes by Mob, and it's to indicate basically he's just a guy in the crowd, right? He's just a fella. He's like so unconsequential. He's just a part of the mob. But he has this supernatural ability. He's got this like intense spiritual supernatural ability, and he can use it to some degree, but he gradually over time builds up to an explosion. Intense emotions or people like antagonizing him, things like that, lead him to a explosion. I think that's where it gets to the 100 part. Once his like percentage gets to 100, he explodes. And his whole thing is like he doesn't use his superpowers except when people need it or when he's pushed. He doesn't think he should use it for like casual use. It's not something that he should be like bandying about. And he gets caught up with, in the second volume, he gets caught up with like this weird cult situation. And then in the 3rd volume, we meet his brother, who may or may not have some sort of supernatural ability. And the whole time he's working for this, his Mob is working for this like con man who pretends to have spiritual abilities, but he's really just using Mob to exorcise these ghosts and spirits. It's weird. It's from the same guy who did One Punch Man. So if you have any idea or feel for One Punch Man, it's kind of similar to that. And I think it's funny because this is about a kid with no muscles who has like supernatural superpowers, and One Punch Man is the opposite. Saitama has muscles, he's strong, he can one punch things, but as far as I know, he doesn't have any actual like supernatural powers. Like it's opposites. So I am on the fence still. I am curious enough to keep going. So that is what we are going to do. We are going to keep going with Mob Psycho for now. I have the first 9 to go through. I was laughing out loud in the second one, so there's that, right? That's good. That's a good thing. So the actual novels I have to talk about, I have 4. Like I said, more than I thought. I finished Strange Buildings by Uketsu. I really loved this. I absolutely loved this. I thought this was really, really fun to read. It is like a mixed media, mixed format sort of book, and it's about this guy, Uketsu, our author, who is investigating strange buildings. The premise is that this takes place after his first 2 books, Strange Houses and Strange Pictures, and after he does those books, a bunch of people start sitting in these strange houses and the floor plans and telling him these stories, and he finds 11 that stick out to him, and you start to find the possible connections between these houses, and it does lead up to an ultimate connection and a theme throughout, and it's really fun. You go through the files for each house and hear each story, and then at the end he and his friend kind of deduce the connections and find how they're all drawn together, and I really enjoyed it. Like I said, I read it physically, so I did tab it, and I am very excited to read the other 2 books. I have not read them yet. I actually intend, I'm doing a low-key book buying man where I'm trying to read 2 of my physical books before I can buy a new book. So I have to, I think I've finished, I finished one yesterday, so I have to finish another one. And then I might pick up the next book, not the next book, but another book by Uketsu. I loved it. I would recommend, if you like translated Japanese fiction with an almost supernatural kind of culty vibe to it, little bit of a horror element, it's really good. Again, I liked it a lot. There's a lot of drawings too, and it makes things very obvious. So here's last thing I'll note on this. You read through the 11 files at the beginning of the novel, and when you go back to when you get to the back where they start to deduce the connections, it will rehash each file for you. So he'll say, let's look at file 3. And he'll say, here's a summary with bullet points, and then he'll say, consider this, this connects here for this person, and it'll give you an excerpt from that file, so you don't have to flip back and forth. So if that's something you don't like doing, it is laid out pretty clear in the book, so that's nice. Another translated book that I read was Your Utopia by Bora Chung. This one I picked up completely on a whim late one night, like I tend to do. It's on KU if you want to try it. It is a collection of short stories from the person behind Cursed Bunny, which I haven't read and is now on my TBR. And these are all mostly science fiction of different bents. These are I don't know how to describe these. I told my husband, I was laying in bed and I said, I don't know what it is about these stories, but they stick in my brain and they make my brain throb. That sounds weird. I can't help but think about them. I especially right now, the one I'm fixated on, the one I have been for the past 2 days, is I think it's called The Disease. Let me double check. It is about this woman who is in a spaceship, and the spaceship is fleeing Earth because there is a quote-unquote disease on Earth that is causing people, it's called The End of the Voyage. It's causing people to just, out of nowhere, turn around and try to eat each other. It's not like your typical zombie apocalypse where people become raving mad and they just go through the streets. They're normal, everyday people talking at a table at a meeting, and they'll just turn around, look at their friend's arm, and just start to eat them. And they will eat them down to the bone, and then they'll go back to the meeting like nothing happened. It's very weird. So there's no way to tell who has the disease or how it's transmitted, anything like that. And so humanity sends these people up in a spaceship, and it's kind of her musing on that. There was another one at the Center for Immortality Research. The twist at the end had me oh, wow. Fascinating. This was really good. Fantastic story. I liked it so much. I finished it on KU, and I had to get my own copy because this is a collection I will be going back to pick up. Like I said, I can't stop thinking about the disease one. I just really liked that one. And a lot of these do kind of explore the idea of grief and grieving, but in a way that it's not super obvious every time. I really liked it. Really, really, really liked it. I am really on a translated fiction kick. I don't know what it is. Actually, considering manga is always translated, I guess I tend to read a lot of it, but as far as actual novels go, I'm really I'm on the ball with those. So the last 2 things that I read, I finally finished Paladin's Grace by T. Kingfisher. And much as I suspected, this was a 4, not a 5, so this is not my favorite T. Kingfisher. I know a lot of people really love it, and I do love it, but I feel like it's just a hair too long. And it also does the thing I dislike where the main character at a pivotal point is accused of something. I really hate that. I hate characters being falsely accused and then having to prove innocence. I'm a middle child. I'm a middle child. I hate being accused of things because I grew up being accused of things. Anyway, this is about Grace and Stephen. Grace is a perfumer and Stephen is a paladin of the Saint of Steel. And the Saint of Steel died 3 years ago. When that happened, his paladins went mad because he was this holy berserker god. And he could control his paladins. But when he died, their berserk tide overcame them, and in the end, only I think like seven paladins remain. Most of them went mad, killed a bunch of people, and then were killed themselves, and Stephen is one of the remaining ones, and they work for the Temple of the Rat, which is honestly the best temple I've ever read in any fantasy book. Hands down, if I had to pick a fantasy world to go to, it would probably be this one, and I would go to the Temple of the Rat. Lovely people. He works at the Temple of the Rat with the other paladins, and he meets Grace one night as she is trying to get away from some thugs. Annoying people. They're trying to hurt her, and he helps her, and they get involved together, and then through happenstance get involved in this murder mystery political plot. And it was good. It was lovely in that way that T. Kingfisher's writing is whimsical and comforting to me and hilarious at times, but it was just a hair too long for my taste. I think she could have probably cut out like 50 to 100 pages and it would have been just fine. But we'll continue on, of course. I love T. Kingfisher. She is still my favorite author. So I will be continuing on with the next one. But I don't remember which one's next. Hopefully here soon. I'm going to put the audiobook on hold at the library. So when it comes in, I will listen to it. And finally, I finished the second Bobverse book for We Are Many by Dennis E. Taylor. Now the Bobverse books are about Bob. Bob cryogenically freezes his head, basically, at his death and signs it over to this company that says, hey, when it's possible, you can bring my head back to life and give me a new life. You know, cool. Right after he signs the signature, the contract, he's hit by a truck. It's almost like the famous isekai truck if you're in that niche online. And when he wakes up, his consciousness, his brain, has been transported into a computer. So he is an AI program now. And they call him a replicant. They call him a replicant. And the company that quote unquote owns him, creates him, is not a good one. Through a series of events, he ends up in space on his own, completely cut off from Earth for a very long time. And then he has to go back to Earth and finds out things are bad, and he decides to help the survivors, but also he has replicated himself. So there's not just Bob, there's Bob 1, but there's also Howard, Riker, on and on and on, and they slowly start to populate the universe and explore, meet new creatures, new peoples, and help what's left of humanity survive. And in this book, we see that really kicking off. We start to see humanity reach outside of Earth. We're making colonies on other planets. We start to see other alien races, and we start to come up against a big bad in the future. That is going to be the third book. From what I can gather, the ending of this really set that up. And this was great. This broke my heart though, because my favorite Bob does end up passing away. And that was really sad. I was like, ride or die for that Bob. I was getting ready to fight the world. And then things happened. But it's so good. It's very, very fun. This one was more tense than the first one, but it's also kind of fast-paced. If you sit down, the chapters are really short and snappy because we're moving between Bobs. The only problem is that occasionally it's hard to keep track of time. Because Bob is an AI, he's a computer program, his perception of time is very different than ours, so you have to pay attention to the timestamps. And it does say in the text, it's been 7 years since such event happened. So keep that in mind, but I do love the Bobverse books. I've got the third one on my bookshelf upstairs. I will be picking that up soon. It's shorter than this one, wildly. That surprised me when I picked it up. I didn't expect it to be shorter, but it was. And again, I always recommend these for anyone who loves space exploration, space material collecting, Mass Effect, that sort of thing, games or other books. It's very good. I am sick. I do apologize. I don't know if you could tell. I keep choking. And it's hard for me to talk consistently and with any anyway, it's hard to talk right now. So I am currently reading a couple of things. I am almost done, oh my god, with Grave Empire by Richard Swan, which I am loving, just constantly making me go, oh no, things are happening, people are getting sent to the Shadow Realm rather gruesomely. Whoa, This is fantastic. I have mightily, mind you, resisted the urge to buy Steel Gods, which is the second one. I thought it came out in the fall. I was wrong. It came out in March. Whoops. I am honestly behind on new releases. I have intentionally not been getting on NetGalley and checking my favorite publishers because I'm trying very hard to catch up on my NetGalley backlist, not really succeeding. And to do that, I am avoiding trying to get new arcs, so I don't know when things are coming out. And so the sequel to this is already out. So I plan on getting the audiobook for it and jumping into it when I finish this. A cat or a little girl just fell upstairs. It's okay, my husband's up there. But I just heard it. Okay, anyway, I'm almost done. Fantastic audiobook experience and fantastic book so far. If you like fantasy horror, you're going to enjoy that. Now, the other two things, I am still reading the new J.R. Ward, her romantasy book. It's upstairs. I just kind of pick at that occasionally. I need to focus in and read that. I like the tone and everything of it. I just haven't got very far. And I have been dedicating my ebook time to Cold Eternity by S.A. Barnes, which is also a horror novel. I was reading it first thing this morning. I got up at 5:30 because sick. And I was sitting there. My daughter came down around 7 and she was watching Bluey. And so I was reading Cold Eternity and my husband came down, and right as he came down and sat down, I got to a very particular part where we start to get a little touch of the horror, and I recoiled so much. I was like, oh. And I was looking at my Kindle and I did this number, and then I looked at him and he's looking at me like, what's the matter? And I was like, nothing. It's already starting to wig me out. It's a very good premise. This woman who's on the run from something takes a job to kind of help babysit this ship that's full of cryogenically frozen. I don't know what's with that theme lately. Cryogenically frozen people. And it's basically a dead ship. The company that owned it went under, and these people are just there in their cubes, their little pods, and the ship is like dark and black and creepy, and she's like, are they dead? Are they alive? What happens if they break out? That sort of thing. So it's fantastic creepy vibes. But I do believe that is everything that I am reading. It's definitely everything I read this week. Let me know if you guys have tried any of this. Does anybody like Mob Psycho? Does anybody have any thoughts on that? Should I keep going? I mean, I have the volumes and I plan on it, but if there's like a hard reason not to, I don't mind taking them back to the used bookstore. It's not, no skin off my chest. Let me know, and let me know if there's anything I should read based on what you see here. And do not go out around sick people. This sucks. Something's going around. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Thanks for watching, y'all, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.